Okay, before I get started in this video, I just want to let all of you know that this video is going to be pretty long. So if you have the patience to watch it, go ahead and watch it. If you don't have the patience to watch it, don't watch it. Okay, I'm going to be reading something from Quota, and it's titled, "How Did Society Become So Toxic?" Well, I wanted to do this video because of the recent mass shootings that happened here in the US. And to some of you who don't live in the United States, I'm not going to lump all of this into, where you live because you don't live here. I hope that makes sense. But anyway, to all of you who live outside the US, this is going to be a treat. Not a treat, but you guys are going to be a fly on the wall and just see how things are. I'm not trying to be a genius. I'm not trying to know it. I'm not trying to be an intelligent being who knows everything. I don't know everything. I don't. You know, I'm not going to pretend like I know everything. So, I'm just going to give my, well, not thoughts, but after I read this, I'm going to be reading other comments on Quota from other people. After reading why society became so toxic. Okay, let me get started here. Okay, this is from Sag. Society can be toxic for a variety of reasons. Some factors that may contribute to toxicity include lack of empathy and understanding towards others who are different from us, a culture that values competition and winning at all costs, the spread of misinformation and hate speech on social media, a lack of accountability for one's actions and words, a lack of regulation and oversight of online platformers and media outlets. It's important to note that these are just a few examples, and there are likely many other factors at play as well. Additionally, it's important to remember that society is made up of individuals and that we all have a role to play in creating a more positive and inclusive culture. Okay. Well, and that's all true. I mean, that's how society is here in the US is all about. And I don't know if it's like that in other countries. I think the UK is like that too. Because I heard some people online telling me the United Kingdom is just basically a mini America. So I don't live in the UK, so I don't know. I've been to the country, but I never lived there. I just went through there to get on the bus and to head to a cruise ship dock to get on a cruise ship to sail to some countries on that cruise ship back in 2017. That's like 6 years ago. So I don't know how the UK is. Okay, and I found some more evidence on why society is toxic. Society here in the United States. Okay, society encourages reckless group behavior. When one person acts violently, horribly, or insanely, they usually end up being identified as someone who's not okay and needs help. But when an entire society needs help, it tends to be the opposite. The toxic, violent, insane behaviors become normalized. And yeah, it's true. Bad is good, good is bad. Being crazy and insane and reckless towards others, it's basically normal. And it is. And that's why society here in the United States is so loop-sided. It's upside down. It's it's abnormal, weird, violent, and yeah, I yeah, and why I'm gonna say this, but I'm gonna stop right here. Why am I doing this video? I'm doing this video because yeah, I think I said this at the beginning of this video, but I'm doing this because of the recent mass shootings. One that happened in Memphis, Tennessee. One happened in let's see, Louisville, Kentucky, and one just happened in Alabama. So these all these mass shootings are happening because you got individuals who carry out these mass shootings. Um, you know, um, it's because they have like I'm saying this over and over again, but they've been torn down. Their mental health has been severely damaged. Through a bad upbringing, through childhood, by bad parents, and they've been treated badly by bad siblings within their families. They've been picked on and bullied at schools, and it reaches a boiling point where they just go and just take their anger, rage, and frustration out on people. And yeah, I don't want to talk about this, but I had someone who subbed to me, and his name is Freeze Dollar. He's from the UK, and I chewed him out in a comment section on one of the videos, and he said something about Joe Biden should be thrown in prison because he touched a little girl's hair or a little girl's hair. And I told my sister about this, and my sister said that is the most stupidest thing I've ever heard. That's stupid. Like that's something like some conservatives will come up with. And I'm not trying to be political or anything, but I'm not a fan of Joe Biden. I don't think this man should be thrown in prison for touching the hair of little girls. Now, if he grabbed these girls, in their private parts or on their butts, grab their butts, yeah, he should be thrown in prison for that. He should be punished for that. You don't do stuff like that. That's wrong. But touching the hairs, the head hair of girls, I don't think he should be thrown in prison for that. I don't know, like someone who comes up with this, I guess that's creepy to them, I guess. I don't know. Well, anyway, let me continue. And oh yeah, before I continue, yeah, I told Freeze Dollar in the comments on one of the videos on this channel that what he said was the most dumbest thing that I ever heard him said. He's been like, dropping a lot of crazy comments saying that, California, Nevada, Georgia, New Hampshire are shit states. They all equally sucks. Minnesota, Ohio are better, or something like that. I guess he been watching some of the old videos that I made on this channel, and he thinks that I'm still this way, and I'm not like that anymore. I agree. The U.S. has a lot of problems. I mean, the culture's bad here. The U.S. is good at some things, but the culture isn't one of them. But after I shoot out Freeze Dollar in the comment on one of the comments on one of these videos, he goes and trolls me and goes to one of the old videos that I made on this channel, a video that I did about the XFL. He goes and says this by dropping a comment. And after 5 years, you are still wrong. I don't know what he's trying to do. He's trying to hurt my feelings or anything, but Freeze Dollar is just basically a child, because what he did was very childish. After I chewed him out in one of the videos, he goes and finds a video that's so bad that he's gonna hold it against me and hurt my feelings, I guess. Yeah, and some of those videos I did, they were bad. I did some bad videos on this channel. I'm not proud of them. But people like him, they can hold stuff against me. They can say, oh, you don't talk really good in these videos and blah, blah, blah. Keep trying. I really don't care, because all they are a bunch of trolls. Trolls, and, you just ignore them. And people like that are the reason why, society is so toxic, I guess someone from Britain who just loves what's going on here in America, and they just they just quote history in this country, blah, 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 blah. I'm not that very keen on the history of my country, because, I never learned anything because, I have learning issues, and, it's not going to, I'm not going to let that bother me. But, there's one thing that people like Freeze Dollar who live in countries outside the U.S. and people who live in the U.S., there's one thing they don't know, and I'm going to throw Doc Garcia into this. Doc Garcia, the owner of the YouTube channel DocGO7. There's one thing that these guys don't know is, why do these mass shooters do what they do? Okay? And, in the internet, they say that the internet is destroying society, and that's true. But, there's some good things and bad things about the internet. For the internet, you got people with disabilities, people who don't have a severe disability like myself. These people can go and learn things online. They can learn things that their parents and siblings will never teach them. And it'll just shelter them and just keep them at home with them for the rest of their lives. Their parents, the parents of people with disabilities just hold these people down, shelter them for the rest of their lives and never teach them anything and just do everything for them. Treat them like children. Tell them, do you want me to buy you a dog? Or, crazy stuff like that. And I have a friend who has Asperger's. And he told me that if it wasn't for the internet, he wouldn't learn the things that he need to learn to survive out in the real world. And if it wasn't for the internet, he told me he'd still be living with his parents. He'll be sheltered and stuck with them. People like Freeze Dollar and Dog G just don't see that, nor do they care. Okay, let me continue. Okay. Excuse me, clear my throat here. Okay, I'm gonna be reading some comments from the response from how did society become so toxic? And this comment is from a teacher named Michael Francis. Michael Francis, he's a teacher. And he says this: society has become toxic from the breakdown of family and community. All the problems after that, from the lack of respect for others, inversion to responsibility / accountability, increased self-centeredness, mistrust of institutions, experts, authority. All this is stemmed from a breakdown of society on a smaller scale. This, of course, is just my opinion. And yeah, everybody is entitled to their own opinion, but he's right, and I agree with him on that. Okay. Here's another one. Okay. Okay, here's one from Rene Montanez, and he studied at California State University in Fresno, California. And he says this: as I turn 25 in a couple of weeks, I often ask myself, what the fuck is wrong with our society? I was obviously born in the wrong generation and don't affiliate myself with my generation. Anyways, to answer your question, I honestly feel like social media destroyed our modern society. People literally spend hours on their phones instead of having a real social interaction with one another. They also use social media to feed their toxic egos by forcing their entire free time on pleasing others who don't even care about them, instead of trying to better themselves by doing hobbies that will benefit them over time. This is exactly why I stopped using social media for about 9 months, and it was one of the best decisions I have ever made in my life. There are a lot of other factors too, such as people distracting themselves away from God and religion, unlimited access to porn, parents not teaching their kids respect and morals, etc. It comes to no surprise why so many young people in particular, like myself, are so unhappy and lost in this toxic world we live. I honestly think it's going to get worse and kind of lost hope in our society, but I hope it will all change one day. Yeah, I agree on that. And I do. Yeah, that's one of the things that is the reason why society is so toxic here in the US. Okay, here's one from Ander Yukin. I can't pronounce his name. It's like it's Japanese or something. Okay, he says this: modern society is more driven by their emotion rather than intelligence or logic. Everybody only acts on their emotions, and it makes people irrational. This society encourages people to share their feelings and be open, which is a good thing, but people take it too much to heart, and I think that's why people are becoming too sensitive. People can't take jokes nowadays. It's ironically made people toxic. People only act based on their first emotion. People who don't agree with options bury themselves in death threats and shame. Nowadays, you can't tell a joke without people saying, "Oh, that's insensible," or "You can't say that." Well, jokes are jokes. They're not there to offend anybody. They're intended to be for laughs not offense. That's true. That is true. Also, there's these articles about asteroids crashing on Earth, and how do people react? They get scared, paranoid, and worried, which is them acting based on their first emotion, which is natural, but this is what happens when people don't act based on intelligence or logic. I'm not trying to belittle anybody, but people only read headlines and get worried right away. But if you read on and inform yourself more about it, you'll feel more unrest. Besides, the biggest asteroid that will probably hit Earth in our lifetime, 99,942 Animorphs, additionally, only had a 2.7 chance of hitting Earth in 2029. Further observations estimate such an impact, although if it goes through a gravitational hole, it could hit in 2036. We have thousands of asteroids fly by every year, and do people think anything of it? No. When people heard about this Animorphs, they still make reports incorrectly saying it'll hit in 2029, when really it's more likely to hit in 2036. Am I worried? Not really, because the chance of an asteroid hitting us in our lifetime is still very slim, so ignore those scaremongers. Then you get these a-holes who bury themselves in hate for having a different option compared to everyone else, which isn't cool. Everybody is entitled to their own opinion. There are probably people who brazenly flock with the crowd to seem cool. If somebody has a different option, it's within your right to respect that. If not, get off the internet, you snowflake. Oh, yeah. All of that is true. That is true. Yeah, he's not that far off from being right, but what he said is true. Okay. The impact of social isolation on mental health. Okay. Social isolation involves being cut off from contact with others. This can involve physical isolation, but also refer to feeling emotionally disconnected from social interaction. People can become socially isolated both interventionally and intentionally, while levels of social contact can vary over time. Extended periods of social isolation can harm mental and physical well-being. Okay. People are social creatures, and lacking support and contact with others can contribute to loneliness, cognitive decline, anxiety, and depression. Isolation has also been connected to a greater risk for medical conditions such as heart disease, high blood pressure, weakened immunity, and reduced overall longevity. The relationship between social isolation and mental health. Research has long noted the link between social isolation and mental well-being. People who have solid social connections have a lower risk of depression than those who lack strong social and emotional support. People who are socially isolated also tend to experience a higher amount of work-related stress, are more likely to misuse drugs and alcohol, and have a lower satisfaction with their life. Social isolation and mental health have a bidirectional relationship. Isolation can also lead to changes in the brain that might contribute to the onset of mental health conditions. Poor social support can make it more challenging for people to manage stress, which can also significantly affect health and well-being. At the same time, social contact and support may play a role in helping people combat symptoms of stress and anxiety, depression, and other mental health issues. Spending time with others and feeling connected can coordinate a sense of belongingness. Okay. The impact of social isolation on mental health. Social isolation and loneliness can significantly impact mental health, mainly if they are prolonged. Some of the potential consequences of social isolation and loneliness include increased alcohol and substance use, poor physical health, increased risk for depression, a higher risk of suicide, changes in brain function, antisocial behavior, heart disease, higher stress levels. Social isolation can also affect a person's health habits, further influencing mental and physical health. People who are socially isolated tend to exercise less, sleep more poorly, and consume more dietary fat. Okay. Causes of social isolation. Social isolation sometimes has a direct and apparent cause, such as divorce or illness. The other case, it happens gradually and may be a sign of other problems in a person's life. This reality is that many factors often contribute to social isolation, including depression, illness, social anxiety, stress, and trauma. Okay, depression. Social isolation is a common symptom of depression. People who are depressed often experience low mood, loss of interest, fatigue, hopelessness, and loss of motivation, all of which can make it difficult to maintain social connections. Illness. People can also become isolated as a result of chronic health conditions. Such conditions can affect mobility, making engaging in social activities difficult. Factors such as stigma or shame can lead people with health conditions to avoid social situations. Social anxiety. Social anxiety causes people to experience intense fear associated with social situations. People who have this type of anxiety tend to deal with it by avoiding socializing. This can dramatically limit their ability to maintain relationships and social connections. Okay, I'm gonna stop right there. Social isolation among men here in the U.S. is pretty high, and speaking of men who are socially isolated, I'm one of those men. People in my life, they think that, telling me to see a bunch of mental health professions and a psychiatrist and take pills from a psychiatrist that will make me feel better, and bringing up my disability, that doesn't help me. And it doesn't help anybody either. The real cure is everybody needs to treat each other with respect and start socializing with one another and understanding one another and respecting one another instead of, tearing people down and being offended over a joke. And these trolls, here online, especially here on YouTube, they're just making things even worse. They're part of the problem. And Doc G talk about, and others talk about, the internet and social media is the problem. And yeah, social media is the problem, and internet is the problem. And yeah, and Doc G, when I watched one of his videos, he brought up the fact that people who consume porn, who watch a lot of porn online, you have huge access to porn. It messes people's ability up to have sex. You know, I'm gonna be honest with you. I barely watch porn. I watch like a little bit of it, not a lot of it. I just watch stuff that doesn't do damage to me. I don't go online all the time, and I don't. You know, I spend more time, going outside, and watching a little TV, and that's about it. And also, I want to get away from politics because politics is just killing me and just alienating people around me. It's just turning me into Alex Jones. My father forced me into politics because when I was a teenager, he was shocked. No, he was shocked that I didn't know who the president of the United States is and who's the Secretary of Defense. It's funny. He got me into this. Then when I talk about something that he doesn't agree with me on, like universal health care and the quality of life is better outside the U.S. and other countries that are on par with the U.S. than the U.S. itself. He disagrees with me and calls me crazy. Say feel miss out of place. I kind of lost it because of his, negative American beliefs on the U.S. is the greatest country in the world. It's a perfectly good country, and why you want to leave it? You know, and I look at people like my father and people in America or in the U.S. who is like my dad. I just look at them. I think they're a bunch of lunatics. They're driven by madness. They're completely blind, and they're stupid, and they are. Then you got these people from countries like the UK and other countries. They run their mouth about America history and America this and America that. And, when it comes to mass shootings and why these mass shooters do what they do, they're just virtually silent. And they just go after, mass shooters who do wrong and pedophiles. And say that, oh, so and so needs to be thrown in prison because he touched the hair of little girls. So what's wrong with it? If I was the president of the United States, and I hug people and I hug a little girl and I pat a little girl on the head. Same thing with a little boy. Am I a pedophile? Should I be thrown in prison over this? You see, this is the type of stupid shit online that makes me cringe. It's stupid. So if I touch a single hair in a harmless way on the head of a child, I should be thrown in jail. That just shows us how crazy the internet and social media is. It just shows how crazy people are. People who talk about America and how it is and give their thoughts on the U.S., they're so blind of what's wrong with this country, and they don't offer solutions or nothing. They just brag about putting the killer down and putting the bad guy down, blah 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 blah. And I really don't care about these people. If these people from other countries like the U.S. so much, why'd you just live? Why'd you just move here? If you ask me, I don't want to have anything to do with the U.S. I'm not I'm ashamed to be an American. I don't want to be an American anymore. You know, I don't want I don't want to relate to anything that's American related, and I don't want to talk to Americans. And matter of fact, I don't want to talk to anybody from other countries who brag about and talk about America. I just don't want to have anything to do with these people. I don't want to talk to these people. I want to affiliate with these people, you know, regardless if they're family or not. I just don't want to have anything to do with these people. Because these people have no clue on why society here in the U.S. is so messed up. I'm just going to talk to Americans and people from other countries who have a brain. You know, I look at people like Freeze Dollar, who used to sub to me. That guy has a huge block of ice for a brain, and he's gonna hold some old videos against me on this channel to put me down, and that's a chicken shit bitch move to do, because people like him and trolls, all they are a bunch of cowards who hide behind keyboards and computer screens and put people down and think they're so tough. You know, it's funny. It's funny, you know, if me and Freeze Dollar were face to face, I was this big, huge man, and Freeze Dollar just this little wimpy guy, I'll pummel this guy into the ground. If he sees who I am, he'll be petrified. He'll be fearful. Yeah. But anyway, the hell with that guy, and the hell with all these toxic, broken people here in the U.S. You know, I'm gonna be going overseas, and I'm gonna feel a lot better. So, you know, this is just one more video in the hole for me, and I'm not gonna post any videos on this channel. So, that's all I gotta say in this video. Thank you for watching the video. Cheers and au revoir. Bye.